Page 59, Cafe Vienna. On page 58, they're giving you the other intervals involved, the sevenths and the octaves, the sevenths and the eighths. Octa means 8. I already explained how all that works, so this shouldn't be anything new. I remember sevenths because it's just one note less than an 8. And an 8, the octave is letter to letter, like C to C. Just go down one note. That's the seventh. Sounds great. So it's like A to A is an octave, so A to G is the seventh type thing. That's it. You count them. I mean, you calculate them the same way we've done them all. You can count up 1. Remember, the note you're on is 1, not 0. 1, and I want to go to here, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that's an 8. 8s are really, really, really important, and you need to develop the feel on the keyboard of what that feels like, so you can feel an octave without having to look eventually. In both hands, you need to know an octave. That stretch, that feel. And that's about all I have to do. They'd say harmonic and melodic both. You know about that already. In Cafe Vienna, in the first measure in the right hand, here, you have a third and then a fifth. That's a fifth. And then it goes to a sixth, right? And then a seventh. Isn't that cool? You get the octave in the last measure at the bottom here. That's why I say if you can know what that feels like, you'll be able to play that measure, the last measure at the bottom, without looking at the keyboard. You'll feel that. Now, as far as Cafe Vienna goes, this is in 3/4 time. It's kind of like another waltz. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And the eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and. So that's a nice little piece. The left hand has these broken chords. C chord. Last measure of the first line is a G7 chord, and that's all the left hand's doing is C chords and G7 chords. In the right hand, you see the phrasing they've got? Connect those notes. It's a slur, not a phrase, so it just slur the notes together. You connect them. We want to hear that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Think 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. The left hand will help you out here because it's got the. And with the left hand, I would connect the first 2 notes and then separate the others. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Feel that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You get all that worked out and it's working wonderfully. Then you can go ahead and add these dynamics. They apply to the melody, which is in the right hand. You're starting out soft, and at the end of the line you're going to be loud, and you're going to gradually see that crescendo arrow. Well, plan it out or you'll be loud by the second measure. So you have to plan it out. So in the first measure, I'm just going to stay soft the first measure. And the next measure, I might go up to medium soft, just a little louder. And the next measure, I'll go up to medium loud, just a little louder. Now I'm loud. So each measure, I'm getting a little louder. And then in the second line, you come back down to medium loud. Stay there for that line, and then the third line you jump down to soft. Just all of a sudden you're soft. A little louder, and then back down to medium loud. And then at the end, the last 2 measures, you're staying medium loud pretty much. But there's a retardando there. You're going to slow down. And the fermata at the end, you'll hold that out for a while, and then you'll let go. With the metronome, I just double the value. I'm going to hold it out 4 counts and then let go. They show a little pedal at the end, the last measure. To me, that's useless. It's a waste. You don't need, if you want to pedal that, you go right ahead. I'm not going to bother with it. It's just here. And that's good enough for me. I have a little bit of problem with the way they've written this, so I want to talk about it. On these slurs, at the beginning, you're going to connect those notes and then separate it. And that's fine when the two quarter notes are the same note, because you have to separate them. But in the third measure, I don't want to separate those notes. No. So I'm suggesting on the measures where, like the second measure where the two quarter notes are the same pitch, you can go ahead and play that like it's written. But on the third measure, when the notes are changing, slur them all together. I connected the notes in the third measure and the first two notes in the next measure all together. Just one slur for the whole thing. I don't separate it until I get to the last two notes of the first line. And that's only because they're the same notes. So do that on each of these lines. Don't slur it the way they're suggesting. I think they're just following the pattern is all they're doing. They're not thinking about what this actually sounds like on the piano. So, And the last line, same thing. In the first measure, connect all that. And then at the end, connect all that. Don't slur it that way. If I slur it the way the last two measures, the way they have it marked, no, don't do that. By the way, you have to move your right hand around a little bit. Did you notice that? At the bottom, last line, you've been in this position pretty much, and then in the second line, you gotta come up, the thumb's gotta be here, so you're in this position, so you moved around a little bit. Sneaky, aren't they? Because the third measure, the first line, you changed hand positions. Did you notice? You're here, you're gonna reach up to the seventh, way up here, and then you collapse your hand, and then you're here. You're in this position. You were in this position. You just switched. And you're staying in this position, and the last measure, the second line, you're here, because the thumb's covering two notes. That's all right. And then for the third line, you got to come back down. It's just one key. Just lift up. Just come down. Just lift up. And then you're doing all that again in the third line. So the fourth line, you're here again. But then in the third measure, you got to come down, little finger on that. Just lift up and move. That's all. Practice that if you have to, but the beat goes on. Don't hesitate the beat. Don't mess that up just because you're moving your hands around. You got to figure out how to do that and keep the beat going. So let's play this slowly together to double check the notes and the rhythms. You can do the moderate waltz tempo on your own later. We just want to make sure we have the right notes and rhythms. And if you have to, you can always just play it one hand at a time to double check. It's easier to hear if you're only playing one hand at a time. You can concentrate on it better. Hopefully the left hand's not a problem for you. You just have the C chord and the G7 chord. So it's the right hand you need to really think about. So I'll give us 3 counts. And you're starting out more or less in C position. You see where it is. The right hand is here actually, because you want the 4th finger on the G and 2nd finger on the E, but the left hand starts out in C position. 1, ready and go, and. hold 2 off.